Poland will be the fifth country Volodymyr Zelensky will visit as part of his diplomatic offensive. He will meet President Andrzej Duda and Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, among others. One of the key topics will be the situation on the grain market. We want to ensure that any trade with Ukraine does not destabilize our market. This is certainly a very important topic for us, for the Poles. Although, also, dear ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget Russia enslaved us for 300 years. And the first time someone else dies for our freedom is also worth appreciating, noticing, and keeping in mind. After the start of the war across our eastern border, Poland became a transit country for Ukrainian grain to go to third countries. However, some of the grain stayed in Poland, and Polish farmers complain that they are losing out against the cheaper grain. Only the imposition of tariffs will save us from a major food crisis, because let's remember that the harvest is approaching, and the logistical capacity of Polish ports, Polish grain elevators, and Polish infrastructure is limited. Last week, the protesting trade unionists signed an agreement with the government, but yesterday it was broken. Now the farmers are threatening to blockade Warsaw during President Zelensky's visit tomorrow. Today, if there is no blocked import of grain from Ukraine and the deposit system introduced, if there is no intervention purchase at last year's harvest prices, Polish farmers will lose hundreds of thousands of zloty. These prices we have are global prices, minus, as in every country, the cost of transportation. That is why there are such prices and other prices cannot be made. In Poland, we should help farmers because we want to have food sovereignty, just as the Prime Minister proposed with subsidies of 250 zloty, 150 zloty. As Poland, we will not do anything with the prices except for these subsidies. Although a week ago, Putin said that prices are too low, and already prices have gently gone up. Among other things, the government has pledged to strengthen border controls, transfer more than 600 million zloty for rural aid, and hold talks with representatives of the European Parliament on reimposing duties on grain from Ukraine. The whole European Union and the world were worried not about Europe, which is self-sufficient, but mainly about the world, including Africa, that if we do not help in any way in the form of corridors or lack of tariffs or distribution of grain, we will find that we will have trouble and a humanitarian crisis. In addition, one of the topics of tomorrow's talks will be Polish-Ukrainian relations. These most important conversations about support for Ukraine, bilateral issues, take place all the time on the occasion of these work visits or phone calls by the presidents. Issues of cooperation and assistance to Ukraine will be discussed. Bilateral issues, including easy and difficult ones, will be discussed. But historical issues will also be discussed, of course. Indeed, something is being forged that is much more serious than the issue of these or other ceremonial official visits. That is, a Polish-Ukrainian partnership is being forged that is based on a fundamental compatibility of interests, regardless of all the problems that exist between the countries. I am no longer talking about historical pasts. It's wartime, and it's difficult to discuss this at the moment. Tomorrow evening, Volodymyr Zelensky will speak at the Royal Castle to Poles and Ukrainians who were forced to flee Russian aggression and found refuge in Poland.